record. Okay, so here's my form, what I made, and I'm going to show you step by step what I did to get here. The very first thing I did, let me just close this back up, is I went create, and it doesn't matter what's highlighted over here, it's not going to affect anything. And you just go create and form design. And it's a blank form, there's nothing here. So how does it know that what you're going to be working with is class data? Well, the very first thing you're going to do is go property sheet, and then you're going to go data, and then you say the record source, so drop this down, is going to be classes, table classes. So now, and I'm going to save this, bam. And okay, it's going to ask me what I want to do. So form classes 2, because it's going to be my second one that I'm making. You can't have 2 of the same name. All right, so what did I just do here? If I go form view, you can see that it's still just a blank form. But if you look down here, you see it says 1 of 9. So that's how you know it's actually connected to the data. Even though we haven't done anything with this form yet, just by going to data and record source and changing it to classes, this form, even though you haven't put anything here yet, knows that it's looking at a set of records that's 9 records long, that's class data. So when I click out here, gray space, notice how it says form. When I click the gray space, when I click this, it's different. When I click the gray space, it says form, and then you can change the record source.
I see.
Or you can even just click down this and just find it, and you see it says form. And then you just change the record source. So now it's connected to table classes. Great. That's step 1. Okay, got it?
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, you want to start adding stuff onto the form. So the very first thing I'm going to do is, now that I've put a record source here, and I can say add existing fields. And look, they're all here.
Oh, okay.
Before, when this wasn't filled in, so I'm just going to take this away. And I'm going to save. And so now it's not connected to anything. And I say add existing fields, there's nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't know what fields to add because it's not connected to a table right now. It's just a random form.
Okay.
But by going property sheet, data, record source, table classes, now it is connected to a table. So now it does know about data, so I'm going to save. And now when I go to add existing fields, it knows what kinds of fields I want because I've connected it to the table that has this stuff in it.
And then you click and drag, right?
Yep. Bam. And I can actually just highlight all these at once, and bam.
Oh, whoa, how'd you do that?
Okay, so I clicked, hold down shift, and then click the bottom one, and then you can drag it over. Now I've already put them all here, so it's not gonna let me do it again. But if you hold down shift, you can actually click multiple things like this, see?
Mm-hmm.
So if I just click without shift, it just does one at a time. But if I hold down shift and just start clicking everything, it'll kind of like, you always wanna start at the top, yeah, and then go to the bottom. If you start at the middle, then it's gonna use the middle, and then, you know, see that?
Yeah, from there on out, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so start at the top and then go to the bottom, and then you just bring them all over.
Yeah, but it's not the way I'm going to do it because I want it to look a little different.
Okay, yeah, you can do it one by one as well. So, you know, one by one, do it one by one. But I'm just gonna do it all at once. All right, so let's just all at once. Oops, to drag, okay, there we go. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put class ID here. And remember how I said when I drag any of, this is a label and this is a text box. A text box means you can type in it, a label means you can't type in it. So I'm just gonna drag it around. And remember I said when you grab a box, it moves both? That's why they're both moving at the same time, because they're connected. But if you grab the little box, only the little box moves. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. Not a big deal. And I also changed this label because I just wanted to say class. You can do whatever you want with the labels. What matters is what's in the text box for like the data. The labels can just be like anything you want. It does not matter. All right, so, and you know this is a label because if I go to property sheet, watch this. It says label 18. If I click this, that's label 19. If I click this, that's label 20. These are only labels. They don't matter. But if I click this and I go to and I'm in the property sheet, notice it's a text box. I click this, the selection type, text box. This one, it's a label, selection type label. This one, oh, it's a checkbox. Label, text box, label, label, checkbox. You see that? So you can tell what things are. So I'm gonna just move these around, and you can like highlight multiple of these and move them all at once. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna highlight these and move these all. All right. So I'm not gonna tell you how exactly I did the tutor thing, because like with a combo box, because that's a little bit more complicated. I want you to first get a little bit more familiar with just moving the text boxes around and changing the sizes and like, you know, changing the size of this. I want you to get familiar with that first.
Okay.
All right, so that's it. That's all I did. And let's go to form view. Huh, still doesn't look like mine, huh?
Yeah, you did a lot. You changed the color, buttons.
Oh, I did a lot. I did do a lot. So here's another thing I did. Let's go back to design view. And I added a header and a footer. So let's right click and say, let's see here. Is it in here? No. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do it over here. Format. And where's our header and footer? Maybe it's in other. Yeah, that's one thing I actually dislike a little bit about Access. Sometimes it's just, well, I mean, I haven't used it in a while too, but you really gotta look for all those settings. I'm trying to find the header and the footer. Oh, here we go. If you right click on detail right here, form header footer. Bam, now there's a header and a footer. See how there's separate sections now?
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna go view, and look, now there's like a separate gray section. We want that to be bigger. Let's go back to design.
Of course.
There we go. And we want this bottom to be bigger. There we go. Let's go back to view. Okay, that's a little bit better. But don't you like how it floats here? Isn't this better?
Wait, sorry, what?
Don't you like how this floats? Like this
Oh, yeah,
box?
yeah. I know. I remember what you did. You changed the data to pop up.
That's right. I actually went to other, and it just says pop up, and I changed it to yes. Now let's save it and go back to form view, and that's a pop up.
Yeah, you can click it and drag it around.
Yep, I like that. Now, do you remember what I did to stop people from being able to do this? Can't do that with mine.
No.
Okay, so I'll show you what I did for that. I'm gonna go back to, oh, I can't go back to design view over here. Notice that, because it's a pop-up now. So I have to do it here. Design view. I went basically to format, and I changed it from, or was it format? Yeah, it was format. And I changed border style, because that's like the edges. The border is the edges. I don't want it to be sizable, I want it to be thin. Let's just say save, and now we'll go to form view. Okay, now you can't resize it. Now, how did I get rid of this bottom bar? I got rid of that by turning off record selectors, or I'm sorry, I got rid of that by turning off the navigation buttons. Let's go back to design view, format, navigation buttons is yes. You can just double click that, now it's no. So I'm gonna save and bring that back up. It's gone, see?
Oh, yeah. Wait. I missed that part.
All right, I'll go back. Let's go design view. Navigation buttons went from yes to no.
Okay, so most of these settings that you're doing, I can find in the property sheet.
Yes.
Okay.
But notice, it's the property of the form. If I click this part, these is details. So this setting is not here.
Mhm.
You have to specifically be in form to have that setting.
Yeah, you can even select it from the property sheet. Okay.
Yeah, you can select it here. I just click down here and it goes to the form. But notice if I click here or click here, it's detail. If I click here, it's header. If I click here, it's footer. If I click here, it's form. You could just also find it form.
Okay.
You're definitely going to need to rewatch this recording. There's a lot of detail here.
I know. Yeah, that's why I was wondering if you were recording. When we started the second time, I was like, I hope he's recording this.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it. I see what you're doing, but you're doing a lot.
If you've never seen any of this before, it's a lot. I used to do this a lot, so it's very natural to me. All right, so also you have this little thing here, and you kind of want to get rid of this too. At least I like to get rid of this. It confuses people. They don't really understand what it does if they don't know anything about Access. So we're going to get rid of that too, and that's called a record selector. So I'm going to go to form. We're already there in form. And I'm going to go to record selector. I'm going to change that from yes, and I'm going to just double click and change it to no. You can also just click the drop down and change it to no. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit save and go back to form view. Now it's gone. It's starting to look a lot more like mine now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So what I'm going to do now is go back to design view, and I'm going to add some buttons in here. Oh, well, before buttons, let's put a label. So see that how I hover over this and it says label?
Yeah.
Hover over this, it says text box. You want the label. So let's go label. Let's click there. I'm going to say classes and then press enter. And now we got a label. Text is too small. So let's go to home. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh, let's make this bigger too. Now it says classes. Cool. And I actually want the text to be white. So I'm going to change it to white. And this time I'm going to change the background. Notice I just clicked on the background, but it says form header. So I could have also just found this and said form header, but I clicked on it instead because that's what I'm used to doing. And then I'm going to change this to like a nice red. Yeah, there we go. And this doesn't really show very well, so I'm also going to click that and change it to bold. Okay. Now let's go view. Okay, it's a little better. Still not burgundy. I kind of don't like that color, so I'm going to click on the form header, or I could have just found it in here, form header. And I'm going to say back color, which is that color you're seeing right there. And right now it's BA1419. That's what color it is. So I'm going to click this little dot, dot, dot. And I'm going to say more colors because I want more colors. And I'm just going to darken that up. Say OK. And now the color is 6A0C0E. And don't worry about understanding what this is. All you need to know is if you click dot, dot, dot.
It's just a different color for every possible kind of color.
Exactly. It's a code for every possible color.
That's what I meant, yeah.
I'll explain exactly what these codes mean later. You don't have to worry about that. But if you just hit dot, 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 you can pick what color you want, play around with it, say OK, and then there's the new color. And you can say view, and OK, that's burgundy. Looks a little bit better. You got your Yale, you got your Harvard. All right. That's their colors. The Yale's got a dark blue and Harvard's got a dark red. Columbia's got a light blue. Anyway, okay, that's not important. Design view, okay. And Princeton is yellow, I think. I think they're like a darkish yellow. Gold probably is what they would say. Is it? Aren't they? I think so. Dartmouth is
Princeton
green.
was blue and gold.
Princeton is yellow, I believe. Like or like a goldish. And then Dartmouth is green. Cornell is like bright red. Brown is brown, I believe. UPenn is purple. Who am I leaving out here?
Marcus Williams. Penn State University.
Wait, no, seriously here. Okay, no, okay, not important, not important. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. All right, so we're looking real similar right now.
Yeah.
What else did you want to know how to do here?
It was mainly, I mean, the other stuff I did need help with. I needed help with that you showed me, but the buttons you did so fast.
Okay,
what are you doing?
Let me help you out here. You see all these little things here?
Yeah.
One of these is for buttons. It's this fourth one right here. So I'm going to click on it. And then now it's getting ready to make a button. See how my cursor changed?
Mm-hmm.
That means it's getting ready to make a button. So now I'm going to click. And it's like, oh, great. You want the button to be right here. But I don't want it to just be some random generic button. I want it to do something specific. Now, if you're a programmer, you're actually going to code the button yourself. But let's just pretend we're not programmers and we don't know anything about programming. That's okay. We have this little thing called a wizard that'll do all the hard work for us. So what I want to do first is I'm going to copy this first button that I did. I want to make a new record. And what that is, it's called a record operation. Add new record. So I've selected what exactly I want this new button to do. And notice how when I do different things, and I choose different things that I want the button to do, that icon over here changes. Because that's a sample of what it's going to look like.
You can also change the icon, can't you?
You can also just like come up with whatever icons you want. But let's just leave it as exactly how, like the default. Okay, so record operations, new record, and we're gonna hit next. And now it's saying, okay, what picture do you wanna use? Now notice, there's a couple choices. I can choose the pencil, I can choose go to new. I'm just gonna leave it as the default, go to new. You could even like press browse and like put a picture of your face, and that can be on the button. You can do whatever you want, right? But we're not gonna do that. Look, this looks good. We're gonna just go with the defaults here. So let's just go with go to new, which is the go to new picture. Say next, and then it's gonna say, okay, well, what do you want to name this button for later? We're not gonna worry about naming buttons right now. So you can just ignore this and say finish. Now later, way later, if you want to get really deep into Access, you're actually gonna name that button. But right now, it doesn't matter. Who cares what the name is? and we have that button. So you got that first button there. Now, what else did I do? I also moved the button up a little bit and made another label. So let's go label, click, and I typed in new. That looks terrible. What do you think I did next?
You changed the color of it.
I did. So click on that, go home, go to the text color, and change it to white, and
bold.
White. And I did bold it. And actually, no, I did not bold it. But yeah, we can leave it bold. And then save and view. And now you have a new record button. So now when I press new, here we are.
Last thing.
But what about delete and save? You're probably wondering.
No.
Exact same thing. Exactly.
I figured it was the exact same thing. But my last question was.
Yeah, I won't do it again.
Last question.
But I want you to do the same thing. I want you to make the new, delete, save, and next record and previous record.
Okay.
So all those same ones. Yeah.
Okay, but my last question, can you go to the first record?
First on here, right?
No, on the new form.
So view. I can't go to the first record. I haven't made the buttons for.
Well, this is the first record.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, but you're saying you can't do it because you haven't made the buttons for it.
Well, I can't move around between records because I haven't made the button. It'll automatically start on the first record when you open it up.
Okay, I see. But do you see what I'm talking about? How your class ID number 1 is to the left, and my class ID number 1 is to the right.
Oh yeah, that's called alignment. So let's go change that. Go back to design.
And couldn't you just click in the box? Wait, what the heck? It moved the.
No, I went to design view. Let's go back to form view. Yeah, what'd you say?
I was thinking, couldn't you just click to the right of that number?
Okay.
So move the little, yeah, there we go. Couldn't you just go to home and click the little, not left indent, left something, I forgot what that button.
Left indent, or align left.
Align left, yeah. Can you just do that and that would fix it? Or would that only fix it for that specific record?
No, so this, you can notice, it's not even letting me do it. Because this text formatting is a part of the design. When you're in form view, it's all about editing the data, not the design. You have to be in design view to change the design. So click, home, left alignment, save, form view. Now it's there.
I see.
Yeah, you cannot edit how the form looks when you're in form view, only design view. Okay, that's it. So notice, watch this though. I'm gonna open up, this might confuse you, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I have this table open. You can see the record here in your table. You can see the record here in the second form of classes. You can see the one that I made earlier, form classes. Now watch this. I'm gonna change this to algebra 3. And I'm gonna hit save. Notice how it updated everywhere.
Yeah, that's because when you made these forms, you connected them to the classes table, and both of these forms were connected to the same table.
Yes.
The part where I'm confused is why did the other completely new form change?
Because it's also connected to that table. So here's the thing: since this is connected to that table, when I change the stuff, it will actually save it into this table. But here's the thing. This one is also looking at that table. These are just two windows into the same data.
Yeah. It was just kind of confusing.
It's all the same data. Remember, the data doesn't live here. The data doesn't live here. The data lives here. So regardless of how you change it, the changes are going to happen. If the changes happen here, it's everywhere. Everywhere in the database is going to know about it now.
Okay.
So let's say you had like a student page with a report card and whatever. All of a sudden, that class would change for him too. Everywhere in the database that this class shows up is now going to change.
I see.
Which is why you got to be really careful when you're working with databases, because, and that's why they don't just let like some random like Joe off the street. I don't know why I always say a Joe, like a Joe is just an uneducated person.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking average Joe.
Yeah, but I shouldn't say that because I call Joseph Joe. So I probably shouldn't say that. But the point is, you take the average person off the street, you don't just put them on your system and let them start working. This is why people get training on how to use software, because they may go in here and go, oh, yeah, I'm just going to change this. And, oh, it only changes it for this one thing. And it's like, no, it changed everywhere in the database when you did that.
Yeah.
So this is why people get training for systems, because stuff like that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and close form classes 2. I think I'm done with that. I think you saw everything you needed to see. Oh, there's one thing you didn't see. The combo box. I'm not going to make you do a combo box. This is very useful, but I'm not going to make you do that because, oh, you can edit that? Oh, I'm going to lock that up. No, sir. That should not be editable for users. Let's change that. Change that to no. You don't want people to be able to change that list, because then they could write whatever they want in there. Okay, so now they can't change it. Great. They can only pick what I have. See that? Okay.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my form. And notice how I have to specifically specify like what things I want to allow and not allow, and how things I want to look and how I don't want things to look. Notice how you have to specify all that, you know?
My last question, because we are almost going on for an hour and a half, so I know you have to get off soon. But my last question, I don't know if you said you would tell me about it like in later lessons, or if you're saying save that question for later.
Yeah, don't worry about the combo box, by the way. We'll do that later. So I'm just going to delete that. But yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
No, remember I had a question and you said save it for later, like later this lesson, right?
Let's save that to the very end. Do you have any more questions about this?
No.
Because you're going to do the exact same thing. You see how this professor thing just looks so unprofessional? You're going to make it look nice like this.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the lesson for the week. Last week was just making tables, making basic forms. Well, now you're going to do a more advanced form. That's what you're going to work on this week. And I know you're going to have questions, so if you want me to like watch you do it while you have questions, I'd be happy to do that. Don't worry about watching. I mean, don't worry about doing it tonight. Just, take a break. After right now, you don't even have to think about this. You can come back to this later and kind of just rewatch this video. I'll try to post it so that you can watch it. And probably shouldn't be using real people's names that I randomly remember. Especially if I post this on the internet, because I was thinking about just putting it on YouTube to make it easier for you to watch. Because then you don't have to worry about uploads, downloads, and all that. I probably should just use totally fake names.
Yeah, you should, because like if you're especially going to post it, because people were like, when it comes to like being nitpicky, people were very personal or very protective.
These are mostly made up. Oh shoot, no, there's my boss's name. Okay, you know what? Yeah, okay. I really got to start making this stuff up a little bit better.
I even put like names of like
of students. You put students
that I've known before.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, crap.
we got to make this truly random. All right. So yeah, any more questions about this form?
Which one?
This one. Any more questions about how I did what I did?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, we will conclude, and you can ask me any other questions you have that are not related to today's information.
Well, I put the question in my phone. This is only one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me pull it up real quick. Hold on. So, I was saying I noticed how you can change like the settings, like don't allow them to do this, don't allow them to do that, don't allow them to mess with this. So my question was, what do you send the people? When you send them your user interface, what do you send the users so that they can edit the form without being able to access design view and how they're viewed
and be able to like change things and like just access things? Okay, that's a good question. Let me explain. Okay, do you remember in lesson 1 or in the introduction, and I guess I didn't record that one, but I told you that the reason we're using Access is because you can do everything in this one system. You can design your tables in your database. You can design your forms, your user interface. You can design you can put your code in here, like add new modules that do special stuff that Access isn't even built to do directly. You can do everything in Access. You don't need a web server. You don't need a database server. You don't need any cloud services. You don't need any, any of all the fancy stuff you need to do programming. You don't need any of that stuff. All you need is access. Everything is in this one place. Remember how I said that?
Yeah.
Okay. So in most systems out there in the real world, everything is not in one place like this. Normally, you only give people access to the UI. So they wouldn't even see all this table stuff.
Yeah, but
All they would see, they wouldn't even see the forms. All they would see is a pop-up like this, and they would have to click something to go to classes, and they would have to click something to go to professors, and et cetera, et cetera. And so they don't even see all that. In fact, they don't even see, you see how when I right-click and it says Design View, they don't see any of this. None of this.
What did you send them?
I could send them this NOCE
Just the
database.
form?
I can just, no, the file, this file.
No, but can't they just go into the property sheet and be like, he's like, allow changing this, allow resizing this. Like, can't they do that?
Good question. So you lock it down. You basically, yeah. Okay, so you go File, Save As, and then you save it as an ACCDE. And this makes it basically so that you cannot change any of the designs. See, file will be compiled into an executable only file. That means you won't even be able to go here and see design view.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, you can't even touch all that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
But I mean, like I said, most corporations don't really use access, and so I guess you wouldn't send someone a file. Like, okay, if you, let's say you actually wanted to use this, right, and you were like, oh, I designed this for you, school. You would basically, save it as an ACCDE and give people a copy of that file. And then that file, it doesn't let them change things. It just only lets them like work with what you want them to work with. So I can like lock everything down. In fact, you can even like hide this so that this doesn't come up. And so that none of this comes up, and that when they open the computer, this is all they see, just like this. Or I'm sorry, when they open the file.
I think I've actually seen a teacher with this screen before.
Yeah, because, well, maybe something similar to this. But what I'm saying is,
yeah, something similar, yeah.
You lock it up so that when they open access, this is all they see. In fact, some people don't even know they're using access because it just looks like this. And they're like, I didn't see any access. You see how this icon down here like is access? You can even change that so that when they open the file, it just doesn't even look like access.
Yeah, I've definitely seen something very similar to this when it comes to teachers doing attendance.
Yeah, it could be a lot like this. So yeah, that's how you do it. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So I gave you a simplified answer. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the basics of it. There's a lot more to know about that, but that is the basics of how you would do that.
Okay.
And I mean, I hate to tell you, but it gets way more complicated than just save as an ACCDE. There's other steps you have to take to keep it secure. There's a lot more steps. Also, like what banks will do is banks don't even let you know what their tables look like. You can't just like go to your bank website, for example, and say table accounts, right? Like you don't see any of this.
I bet you they have a million reasons why the bank doesn't want you to see the table, because I bet you they have settings in their tables like, has this person paid all their bills on time?
No, exactly. Yeah, if you could just see the tables, you could just go, oh yeah, I'm just gonna open the accounts and change the balance to $1 million, and it's just like, yeah, no, you can't do that. So, but this is what hackers do. Hackers, they find this stuff, and then they start stealing this stuff. And a lot of times they don't do things. Hackers don't change things like money amounts, because you have something called auditors. So like even if someone did hack into the system, you have auditors that are constantly like checking people's accounts to like make sure that like the numbers didn't change, make sure that like they have all these systems in place to just like check that even if hackers did hack you, like you're not going to have more money or less money. That's not something that happens. Auditors are all over that. Plus you would notice, right? You would notice. There's like all sorts of automated systems that say, oh, if someone's account changes, and this is like a real thing. Even if you go to the bank right now and put $10,000 in the bank, you get flagged for like, they will check and see where that money came from. Like you actually need to, like they will check in with you and just to make sure it's legitimate. So like banks do not mess around. So even if someone did hack, like there's so many systems in place to make sure that money is not being messed with.
Yeah, I know. I think like this one, like even when people hack email accounts, like Google has so many safety measures. Like, hey, you sign into this account on another device. You sure this is you? Like, if this
Yeah.
was you,
Yeah, that's
then
called
disregard
two-factor
this.
or multi-factor authentication. Yeah. So these days people are very careful with that because what hackers do is they don't try to hack like the bank. What they do, because it's way easier to do this, what they try to do is steal information. So they'll like maybe like hack the bank website and they won't like try to change the money because that's like really, really hard to do. It's really secure. But instead, as long as they can see your information, they don't need to hack. They just need to know your info so that they can steal your identity. And if they can do that, then they can sell that on the internet and other people can use your identity to purchase things, open credit cards, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's much easier to do than to try to say, oh, I'm going to change my account to $1 million. If you change your account to $1 million, what's going to happen? They're going to notice. But if you instead just look at someone's information, copy that down and then use that to open a credit card, they're not going to notice because how do they know it's you opening the credit card and not the person?
Yeah.
So that's way off topic, but I'm trying to put this into layman terms. I know you don't have a lot of experience with programming, but I hope that's like still, pretty understandable.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. So, hopefully we can continue to do this. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen. I'm going to